2, 3. Hey, what's up? It's Dustin from Tales from Exile. How's everybody been doing? Everybody's been able to find a little bit of peace and happiness today, and I've been doing okay. Today I thought I'd just hop on here for a couple minutes and talk about everybody's favorite topic, and that's death. I'm not going to really talk about what I feel happens after death, or if anything at all. I'm more so going to talk about the funerals for witnesses and how we feel about them. For me, since I've been out, I've had a few relatives die since being out, and I elected to actually not go to the funeral myself, mainly because I just already knew what it was going to look like, I already knew that it was going to be talking about them for maybe, 4 to 5 minutes, and then the rest of the time it was going to be them pushing the religion on everybody, no matter how much or little that said person actually believed in the religion. Case in point, the last witness funeral I went to was for my Uncle Bill. Uncle Bill was the youngest sibling on my dad's side, and he wasn't a witness. He kind of dabbled in it in his early to late teenage years, but the man died in his 60s. So, he had been away from it for 40 plus years. And the funeral was held at my grandma's house. And the guy who did the sermon was this elder who, I could tell a million stories about that guy, especially before he was an elder, but I'm not going to right now. But it was given by the eulogy, or whatever we call it, was given by him, and they just talked about my uncle's early years, when he was a witness, how much he loved going in service, and all this other crap, that who actually knows if he actually liked doing that stuff. Obviously he didn't like it too much because he hadn't been a witness for 40 years, but either way. And at the end of the sermon, I had a few, I think there were great uncles there and great aunts that I'd never met before, because guess what? They weren't witnesses neither. So my who I think is my great uncle, stood up and said, "Man, this is bull crap. We need to talk a little bit about Billy and all the great things he did with his life, and what my favorite memory of him is." And so he stood up and told his favorite memory. And after he sat down, crickets. You know why? Because the rest of us there, including all of his brothers and sisters who were there, didn't know a fucking thing about him. They had no idea who he was. All I know about the guy is that he did roofing for a little while, and then he drove a truck. And the way he died is kind of badass, actually. He was riding a motorcycle, and he lived in Colorado and had a massive heart attack and flew off a cliff. That's how my uncle died. So, man, I remember after that funeral, I went to Applebee's with a couple people, and I was just sitting there just thinking about that funeral. It was right before I joined the Army, and I feel like that funeral was one of the things that pushed me over the edge to actually pulling the trigger and pursuing my life's goals, because that's what my Uncle Bill did, And people are only going to remember the things about you that they want to remember about you and that they want to know about you. But it's your life, And so that's just kind of the way I had to start viewing things. And the other thing I've been thinking about, being is that I've lost a few family members since being out and I didn't go to the funeral, is what's going to happen on that day when my parents ultimately pass away. what will I do? You know, this is that's something I've gone back and forth on quite a bit. I've thought, yeah, I'll suck it up and go and face people and see people I haven't seen for 15, 20 years, you know, family members, things like that. But then I thought, I've already mourned their loss, you know? I've already been through the 5 stages multiple times, back and forth, both ways. I've reached out to them. I've texted them. I've poured my heart out through text to them. I've even called a few times. And nothing. So for me, I think that I'm not going to be going to anything like that. If and when that day comes, I do reserve the right to change my mind. But you know, I feel like I've already mourned that loss personally. So, how do y'all feel? What do y'all think? Tell me about when y'all's family members have passed and who are still in the organization, and what did y'all do? Did y'all go to the funeral? Did you not? What about when the closest of family members start passing away? What if that has happened? My condolences, but what did y'all do? What was the move? Thank you. I hope everybody finds some peace.